Today's video is about the flow of blood through the heart. We are already aware that blood is moved away from the heart by blood vessels called arteries. So an artery is any blood vessel that transports blood away from the heart. And blood is moved towards the heart by veins. So we can probably define veins as any blood vessels that transport blood towards the heart. When blood is moving through the heart, it is separated into two. Deoxygenated blood moves separately, and oxygenated blood as well moves separately. They don't mix. The heart has two sides. The left side, which can be also called the body pump. Why? Because it is pumping blood to the body. The head, the upper limbs, the lower limbs, the abdomen, some thoracic regions, and so on. Whereas the right side of the heart can be called the pulmonary pump, or rather the lung pump. Why? Because it's pumping blood to the lungs. Blood comes, we can start from blood coming from the body. That is the systemic saturation. I think we are already aware that we have two types of saturation: the systemic saturation and the pulmonary saturation. The systemic saturation, it's involving oxygenated blood coming from our body pump, the left side of the heart, to the body, giving out oxygen to the body, and back to the right side of the heart when it's deoxygenated, so that it can go back to the lungs and pick oxygen. So when it reaches the right side of the heart, the continuation to go to the lungs to pick oxygen and back again to the left side of the heart so that it is pumped back to the body, that stage is the one we call the pulmonary saturation. So with the pulmonary saturation, blood is coming from the right side of the heart, it is deoxygenated, moving to the lungs, picking oxygen, and back to the left side of the heart. We shall see that further later on. So, blood, our deoxygenated blood from the body, comes into the heart, comes to the heart, that is the right side of the heart, the pulmonary pump, the lung pump, through two main blood vessels. That is the superior vena cava, which is bringing blood from the upper part of the body, and the inferior vena cava, which is bringing back blood from the lower part of the body. This blood enters the right atrium to the right ventricle, passing across these valves, which are called the tricuspid valves. Moving across the pulmonary semilunar valves, through the pulmonary artery, which pulmonary artery divides into two immediately after. The reason is we have two lungs in our body. Every individual has one pair of lungs, two lungs. A right lung and a left lung. So, when blood comes into our pulmonary artery, the pulmonary artery divides into two. One going to the right lung and another taking blood to the left lung. When blood reaches the lungs, it picks up oxygen and it has to pass through a set of capillaries known as pulmonary capillaries. The pulmonary capillaries, they are found within the lungs. So it passes through a great resistance of the pulmonary capillaries where our blood gets oxygen from the environment, from the air within our lungs, in the alveoli, or rather air sacs. And after it picking oxygen, it gives out the carbon dioxide within it to the environment, to the air within the lungs, in the air sacs. And at this point, our blood can be considered as fully saturated with oxygen. The oxygen concentration may be around 99. So, the red blood cells will be fully saturated with oxygen, around 99% saturation with oxygen. So the blood has turned to be oxygenated. But also on the other side, when the blood is being called deoxygenated, does not actually mean that it does not have oxygen. No. Within it, it has oxygen, only that the oxygen levels have lowered. Yeah, the oxygen levels may be around 80. So you may find it's around 80 to 82% saturation with oxygen. And there it may be considered as being deoxygenated. So, after the blood picking up oxygen from the lungs, it is going to come back to the left side of the heart. And this time it will be oxygenated blood. It's going to return through a set of veins. You know, it's returning. Any blood vessel that returns blood to the heart is called a vein. Through a set of veins called the pulmonary veins. Why pulmonary veins? They're returning blood to the heart, one, so they are called veins. Two, they are coming from the lungs, so they are called pulmonary. Pulmonary is anything that deals with the lungs. So, from each of the lungs, we are going to have two veins coming out of them, pulmonary veins, and we shall have a total of 4 pulmonary veins that will bring blood and drain it into the left atrium. When this blood reaches the left atrium, it's going to go to the left ventricle through our aorta, but it has to first pass through the aortic valves, these ones. The aortic valves, and boom, to the body. Supplying blood, supplying oxygen, nutrients, hormones, all over the body. All over the body. When this blood reaches the body, it's going to meet what we call systemic capillaries. At the systemic capillary, we shall expect that what is going to happen, there is going to be exchange of oxygen between blood and tissues. Between blood and tissues. So we can call it systemic saturation. So, systemic gaseous exchange. So it's more of systemic gaseous exchange at the systemic capillaries. Capillaries within our body. So systemic capillaries. So here we are going to have gaseous exchange between blood and tissues. Tissues will give in carbon dioxide to the blood, whereas the blood, the oxygenated blood, will give in some of its oxygen to the tissues, but not all of it. So the oxygen concentration may change from 99, fully saturated with oxygen, to around 80 to 82, where we shall term it as being deoxygenated. Oxygenated, deoxygenated. Yeah. So that's a simple summary through blood flow through the heart. So we want to see the types of saturations as we were talking. It's what we are going to be looking at next here. So I think one would be probably already aware that we have two types of saturation in our body. We have the systemic saturation. So we can put this side systemic saturation. And we have the pulmonary saturation. So, with the pulmonary saturation, we are looking at deoxygenated blood from our body moving to the heart pumping it to the lungs, it passing through the pulmonary capillaries, it picking oxygen, and it proceeds back to the heart where it is pumped to the body. On the side of the systemic saturation, we are probably looking at the possibility of our oxygenated blood, that is just from the pulmonary saturation, which has just returned to the heart, being pumped to the body, distributing oxygen and other nutrients and other components all over the body. All over the body, nourishing the body with oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and so on, and passing through the systemic capillaries, moving to the other side of the systemic venues, coming back to the heart as being deoxygenated before it is pumped again and goes to the pulmonary saturation. So they are both linked. The systemic and the pulmonary saturation are linked. And the point of linkage is at the heart. So we can illustrate it in such a way. If this side we have our lungs, that is the pulmonary saturation, and this side we have the body, that is the systemic saturation. So this is probably our heart. It has 4 chambers. We have the right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. So here we have a blood vessel leaving. Here we have a blood vessel bringing in. I have a blood vessel bringing in. Here we have a blood vessel leaving, which is actually dividing into 2. So these are our valves. Here we have such. So this can be a simple illustration of the heart. This is the left side of the heart and this is the right side of the heart. Considering that this is representing the 4 pulmonary veins This is representing the 4 pulmonary veins. This is our left atrium, this region. These are the mitral valves, or we can call them the bicuspid valves. Why? They have 2 cusps. This is our left ventricle. This is the aortic valves, or we can call them the aortic semilunar valves. Why? Semilunar, they have that lunar shape, half-moon shape. This is our aorta. Then when you go to the right side of the heart, we are having our vena cava here, our right atrium, our tricuspid valves. Why? Because they have 3 cusps. 3 cusps. Tricuspid valve. We have our right ventricle. We have our pulmonary semilunar valves. Then we have our pulmonary artery, which divides into 2, going to either sides of the lungs. So the 2 lungs. Now, we are going to start with the pulmonary circulation. So, blood from the body comes when it's deoxygenated and it moves. So, we can use a different color. So, blood from the body comes after it giving out its oxygen. So it is deoxygenated, it comes back to the heart and enters the heart through the vena cava. That is both the superior and inferior vena cava, as we talked about it. Superior vena cava, it's bringing blood from the upper part of the body, deoxygenated blood. Inferior vena cava is bringing back deoxygenated blood from the lower part of the body. So after this entering, this blood of ours, it is deoxygenated. After it entering, it goes into our right atrium. It crosses across the tricuspid valves to the right ventricle. It moves. It crosses the pulmonary semilunar valves to the pulmonary artery, where it is taken to both lungs. When it reaches the lungs, it picks up oxygen. After picking up oxygen, it comes back as oxygenated. Actually, there's something we need to know. In most of the textbooks, you may find that they have drawn deoxygenated blood as being dark blue and oxygenated blood as being red. But there is actually no difference in the color of deoxygenated and oxygenated blood in actual sense. They all have actually the same color. They all have the same color. So it does not matter the color one may use to draw them. So after this blood picking up oxygen in the lungs, it's going to return to the heart via the pulmonary veins and into the left atrium. And that's where the pulmonary circulation will end. So pulmonary circulation is started with blood coming back from the body to the right side of the heart, being pumped to the lungs, picking up oxygen, and woo back to the heart via the left side of the heart when it's now oxygenated. Now from this point, our systemic circulation starts there. So with the systemic circulation, we are going to have our oxygenated blood reaching the left atrium, moving to the left ventricle, going through the aorta, and moving to the body, where it will pick up, where it's going to give out its oxygen. So when it reaches the body, then it returns again. So the cycle continues. The cycle keeps on repeating itself. It is a continuous cycle. It's a continuous cycle. Pulmonary circulation, oxygenation of deoxygenated blood, returns to the heart. Systemic saturation, taking the oxygenated back to the body, it becomes deoxygenated and comes back to the heart, so that it undergoes again pulmonary saturation to peak oxygen again. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That will be so supportive to the channel, so that we can create more content. Let's learn together. I remain clinician Rovidence.